Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I am Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Portable Power Dan Ryan.
I was really curious where you were going to go with the Game Boy theme tonight, and yes, I am portable and slightly powerful.
As July dawns, as does the next entry in our Stone Age starter kits, this time focused on the original Game Boy. Buy stock in AA batteries because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now.
So many AA batteries.
It's just a preamble for our Game Gear episode.
Oh my god. That thing it had to be plugged in.
You buy stock in AA batteries now because you're going to need it later. Hi, everyone. This is episode 365. Yes, we've been doing this podcast one day, every day for a whole year.
That's right. It's a fucking whirlwind. It's the editing that Evan does to get this out every single day for all of you is... Oh, man, it's fucking breathtaking.
He ages 5 days for every 1 day he edits.
It's great.
This show is literally costing him his life. Anyway, it's the week of July 2nd, 2021. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fucking... I had a nightmare of a day, but it's all right. Let's just move on. Work was a shit show today. Yeah, there's like I should not be in charge of things, Kris. This is well documented. It's well established, right?
I mean, I guess. Don't I usually say you should be in charge of, like, everything?
Yeah, no, I should. I'm good with ideas, but, like, the logistical planning thing, like, I'm an idea man, you know? Like, that's... I'll tell you what we should be doing, and then I need, like, underlings to fucking figure out how we do it, right? The people that I work for currently have taken on a new initiative that apparently all of them forgot to plan. And today was the first day, and it was like, what are we doing? Well, everything that we trained on last week, yeah, we're going to change all of that right now. And I was like, no, we start work in like 5 minutes. I'm not changing any of that. Like, that was just such a fucking nightmare today. But I don't know. Tomorrow we'll see if it's better. I doubt it.
What are we doing? I thought you knew.
Yeah, basically. And then, like, the big boss came this morning as well and was standing outside, like, glad-handing everybody. And I'm like, what? You can fuck off. Like, what are you here for? You don't even know what's going on. You're like, everything's going well, right? And everybody's just lying to your face because we don't want to talk to you. That's a fucking thing. It's the whole thing. Anyway. I have to keep it vague because, you know, I don't know if anybody listens to the show, and I don't want to get in trouble. But
I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's the whole thing. Other than that, I'm fucking peaches and cream. Nothing could be better. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Wonderful news. Same over here. It was a taxing day. It was one of those days where, you know, me and Karen both had a bunch of work to do, and both the kids were like, "We refuse to fuck off. We both need all of your attention at all times." Yeah, and we don't need.
Karen's still home, right?
Yeah, she's still home. And it wasn't one of those situations where, like, okay, let's do something that occupies the both of you. They weren't having any of that. Like, no, you need to do something that occupies both of us. And it's not like, yo, we want to do something together. I want you to occupy me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but my job is occupying me right now.
Yeah, so... I'm completely occupied by this, you know, putting food on the table. So
we kind of, like, took turns, you know, like, Karen did a little bit of stuff in the morning, and then I took him for pretty much most of the day. Yeah. And then when she got off work, I came down here and, you know, scrambled together the rest of the notes and the commercials for tonight right before dinner. And then that was pretty much it. And we had fun, don't get me wrong.
No, sure.
You know, a little behind on work, but that's okay. I've got my mom here tomorrow, so, you know, should all be good. So what, you been playing any games, doing anything interesting?
I mean, with the gift that was delivered to you this weekend, that has been most of my last like 2 or 3 weeks.
Gotcha.
Has honestly been spent on that. I mean, like, still getting pad in, still, like, I finished the third inning program in the show, so I've kind of taken just like a little bit of a break from that as well, because it was interesting, right? Somebody put up a post on the show subreddit, and they were like, how many days of your life have you wasted on this game so far? So I went in and I took a look. And since the game has come out, I forget the exact number of hours that it is, but I was like, fuck, I have put 7 days into this game. This is a lot of hours, right? 7 times 24, it's a decent amount of hours.
Yeah.
Since the game came out.
It's a solid number of hours. Well done.
It's solid, right? And I was like, fuck, I have put so many hours into this game. That is crazy. And then I started looking at what everybody else was putting down as how much they have played. And I am on the low end of people. Like, people are double and triple what I have put in there. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys. I don't know when you would have the time. I just don't get it. It's a really good game, but people were like, yeah, I've put like 21, 22 days into it so far. I'm like, are you just fucking playing literally all day? All day, every day? Like, that, it has to be. And, like, because I was starting to, like, I was playing online a little bit, and I was, like, moving up the ranks. And as I was moving up the ranks, I was, like, I started getting my ass handed to me. And I was like, man, I'm really, like, I don't suck at this game. I don't. Like, hitting is incredibly difficult the higher and higher you go on like through the levels, right? Because the pitches get faster, the breaks get breakier, which is not a technical baseball term, but like it just gets a lot harder to hit. And there's some physical limitations that, as a now 40-year-old man, I have to, like, my reflexes are not as quick as they once were. Like, I can't play this game on, like, the highest difficulty level. I just can't recognize pitches that fast. Now, if I had, like, a gaming monitor with ultra, refresh and all that stuff, maybe I could. But playing it on a 70-inch television, it's never going to happen. Like, the lag is just too much. It's just crazy. So, like, whatever, But I was like, how the fuck, like... And these are the people that I'm getting beat by, are the people that have put 21 days into the game. Jesus, guys, all right. Weird flex, but okay.
You do you, man.
Yeah, man. No, like, if you're having fun, like, fucking live the dream, man. Do it up. It's a great game, but it's not that good. But that and trying to a ridiculously hard new dungeon came out in Puzzle and Dragons, and if you can beat it within 90 minutes, you get a title next to your name, and I don't have that title yet because it's a really hard dungeon. But I'm gonna try it with. I just bought today. We had the second run of the Samurai Showdown collab. Is back now, and it hasn't. It was like a year and a half ago that the first one came out. Maybe just a year. But the Orb Skin card, which is the purchasable card for the collab, is Shizumaru, which I don't know if you remember him from Samurai Showdown, but he's got the umbrella.
Yep.
Dude, yeah, okay. So that's the one that you can buy. So I bought him this morning, and I'm going to try clearing this dungeon with him, because he's pretty good. So I'm going to see if I can't cobble together a team for that. And then there's the same thing like they did for the Street Fighter 2 collab. There's pixel versions of all the characters, and there's a Samurai Showdown 2 specific dungeon. Like, there was a Street Fighter 2 dungeon, which is pretty cool. So, like, I'm excited to work my way through that. I just haven't had time because I've been building shit for people. I'm fucking real man working.
Well,
so worth it though.
It's all appreciated.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, it was super fun. It's super fun, and I'm I am excited to hear your adventures with your new Randazzo entertainment system. Your RES, as it were.
They're pretty wonderful. This is weird. My tab button stopped doing what it was doing a few minutes ago.
What was it doing?
Well, it was, doing what tabs usually do.
Okay, that's good.
Move on to the next thing, but now it's like it's not moving on to the next field. I switched over my game cataloging to Game Eye a while back, because it's just fantastic. The only problem is that it doesn't really do much in terms of cataloging my digital stuff.
Right.
Which makes sense. Not everybody wants their digital stuff cataloged or really cares about that. I do, just because I like to kind of, when it's on a system that I'm using all the time, that's one thing. But then when it's not, I kind of want to be able to tell without turning on my system what exactly is in it. I have an obscene number of virtual console games for the Wii. And I was like,
obscene.
Quite obscene. What games do I have on my Wii U virtual console or whatever? I just like to be able to open that up. So I re-downloaded Gamepedia.
Okay.
And so I'm just kind of I'm adding the last couple of Wii U games I bought recently.
Mm-hmm.
Metroid Prime Hunters and Super Mario Advance 4 and whatnot. I bought a handful of games on the Wii U Virtual Console because it's great, and it's one of the only official ways to get a lot of that stuff.
Right.
I'm cataloging this stuff now while you were talking, and for some reason I'm adding this game in, and okay, now it's working. I don't know what the hell that was about. That was weird. I was adding a new Super Mario Brothers, and was like, no, Tab's not gonna do that anymore.
Computer says no.
That was weird. Very weird. Anyway, that's a thing. I'll get to the big one at the end.
All right.
I'll get a couple other things out of the way. I got Ninja Gaiden trilogy in the mail today. Sorry, the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection in the mail today.
Very nice.
I bought the physical copy from PlayAsia. This is my first.
The Wii one?
The Switch.
Switch. That's what I meant. Fucking Wii. That's what you're just Sorry.
Yeah, I got it on Switch. I've heard people grabbing about the overall performance, but I have no baseline for the performance on the other platforms that it was really originally released on, and I don't care. I like Ninja Gaiden, so... Was
it the original Xbox and PS2, or was it PS3?
It was original Xbox. And then 2 was on 360, and then 3 was on 360 and Wii U and other stuff. I don't know. I'd never played 2 or 3. I played the crap out of 1. I beat 1. Yeah, I never played either of the sequels, and I really liked 1. So I'm looking forward to going back and trying this. So I wanted to get this one physically. I was flabbergasted why it wasn't coming out in America, and I figured, well, if I'm going to pay that kind of money for this game, I may as well get the physical one and just wait. So that showed up in the mail today, and I haven't played it yet, but I put it in my system, and what was super cool is that it's 3 icons.
Oh, cool.
So you just plop the cart in, and 3 different icons came up. So it's not like I'm opening up a trilogy menu that then I have to go into. Like, if I want to play Ninja Gaiden 2, I hit Ninja Gaiden 2, and I'm in.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to diving into that. But speaking of collections, I don't know what came over me last night. I had a little bit of weird, pre-bedtime time. And I decided to try Crash Bandicoot since I bought that trilogy. Yeah. I didn't hate it. I wasn't blown away or anything like that. I was like, this is okay. This is kind of cool. Everyone told me when this first came out that I should play it because Crash 2 and 3 are great and 1's just kind of okay. So, but no, I agree. 1's just kind of okay, but not really in the, no, I'm not going to play this and I'm not going to play through this. I'm going to stick with it and see how far I get because, I was having some fun. It was relatively mindless. There's, clearly secrets abound. It's a nice looking game. It's very pretty. Really nice looking remake. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't hate Crash Bandicoot. So,
I mean, there's really nothing even in there to hate. It's just a well-made game. There's nothing outwardly offensive about it. There's nothing to look back on and be like, I can see what you were going for with Bubsy, but that's fucking grating, 25 years later. That stuff just doesn't exist in that game.
I mean, it's not Mario. It's not it's not anywhere near as ambitious as something like that. It's all very, very straightforward so far.
Yeah.
But that's not really a bad thing. That was kind of what I was in the mood for. It was just like a pretty basic platformer, and that's what I'm doing. So,
yeah, nice.
So it was kind of neat. It was cool. I didn't even have really a baseline for Crash's personality, because all I know of Crash's personality is the commercial where the guy in the Crash suit is yelling through the megaphone from Mario to come out of Nintendo.
Which were super fun.
It's all fine. It looks nice. It sounds nice. So I'm in. I'm fine.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll stick with it. I mean, probably not for long. I was telling you before the show, we're planning the next couple issues of Nintendo Force. So Blaster Master Zero is out in like a week or something. I might be doing the review for Ninja Gaiden Trilogy, so I should probably get cracking on that.
Yeah, probably.
But I own the game, so it's not like there's a big story or crazy complicated controls for me to remember. So yeah, Crash Bandicoot, it's a game. I tried Part-Time UFO, which I got on sale.
How was that?
That's great.
Yeah, you were talking about it a little bit.
It's really hard.
Yeah,
but it's pretty great. I was enjoying that. I forgot if I mentioned that last week, but I picked it up, and it's super cute. It's got catchy music, and Box Boy in the background on one of the stages. So that was nice. Let's see. So I've started Other M. Which I can't. No, we didn't really talk about that, did we? I was getting ready to start Other M. All right. So okay. There's this part. All right. So I'm going to take a quick little side tangent to explain my feelings. Dragon Ball Z Abridged. One of my favorite things in the world, because I'm a huge Dragon Ball nut, and Dragon Ball Z Abridged is absolutely hysterical. They did the original Broly movie, and there's this point where Vegeta learns of Broly's backstory, which in the original version was basically Broly was angry at Goku because he cried next to him as a baby or something. And Vegeta just keeps yelling, "That's so stupid, but he's so cool, but that's so stupid." That's how I feel about Other M. I mean, I keep getting to these spots where, like, Team Ninja was making a good game, and they were just clipped at the knees at every possible moment, because they didn't do the story, right? The story was all Sakamoto's thing, and wow, did he screw the pooch on that. And like it's way worse than I thought it was when I originally played it, right?
That's impressive.
It is, because all the things I hated about it the first time, I still hate about it, but there are things that bother me more now, like, because I was way more apologist about it. Like, I could not stomach the whole, like, Samus is being afraid of Ridley thing. That was the thing that just pushed me over the edge, because no matter how I tried to rationalize it, it made no sense. It just
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. She's killed this guy like 4 times by then. There's nothing to be like. There's no way she would be afraid of this guy. There's just no way that she would have. It just doesn't make sense for that character. But now it's all the others.
That he was back, maybe.
Yeah, surprised that weird chicken monster turned into Ridley. Yeah, I mean, I guess that was kind of surprising. I never really thought of what Ridley's gestation forms looked like. But hey, thanks, game, whatever. But the surprise,
scared is not it.
Yeah, scared is not it. It makes 0 sense. Because it's not like there's never been any sort of cinematics before of, like, because we had the Prime games.
Right.
She never showed even an ounce of anything other than, I'm gonna kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Again, you're gonna die. I'm gonna get you. But, again. And, like, Samus shows fear a lot in this game. And, like, it didn't really... Like, I got to this scene earlier today where the Remember Me guy, remember that in the original trailer for this game where it's like, remember me, and then the mask comes up and everyone in the world was like, no.
Not at all.
Who the hell are
you? Fuck are you?
And, like, Anthony's got this whole thing where he calls her princess, and, like, and
it's so, like, degradingly princess.
Yeah, and it's like they play it in the game like she took it as a form of respect by calling her something delicate, is like the way she words it. Like, it seems like the script was written by somebody who wanted to tell a story of a strong woman who had never met one.
Well, it's a strong woman, again, written by a man. Like, that is...
But written by a man who has never, like, been in the same room as one. Like,
I mean...
somebody who had only heard third-party accounts of what a woman is actually like. And it's really disturbing.
It is, man.
But even...
And not unique to Other M, certainly.
No, definitely not unique to Other M, but, like, unique to Other M in that, and this is really the part that's bothering me more than anything else, because, like, I expect a certain degree of sexism and whatnot to exist in most media from that time period, and especially before, but you kind of... It's there, and I hate it, but, like... It's almost expected. What I didn't realize the first time playing through is how much of Metroid's own lore this game gets really wrong.
Yeah.
Like, early in the game, she mentions she says, this was the first time that I had worked directly with the worked under a Galactic Federation general since I became a freelance bounty hunter. And I'm like, bull fucking shit it is. I just finished Metroid Prime 3, which was the game before this one. Not in the timeline. Prime 3 took place a long time before this one, right? Prime 3 takes place before Metroid 2, and this takes place after Metroid 3. And in Metroid Prime 3, you are working directly with a Galactic Federation general who talks to you throughout the game, giving you missions and stuff. So, what?
Yeah.
In the opening cinematic, where they redo the whole, Samus fighting Mother Brain and the baby Metroid and all that, so, like, the greatest scene in video game history as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And, like, they got every single detail of it wrong. Samus is wearing the Varia suit. She's not wearing the purple gravity suit. The Metroid's floating above in the air instead of protecting her on the ground. Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
They talk about, like, the whole stupid thing with Adam authorizing Samus to use different parts of her suit. Like, all right, you want to throw that at me with power bombs or super missiles, like weapons? Okay, I'll buy that. I will buy that. Samus, just out of respect, being like, all right, fine. I'll stick around. I'll play by your rules. I won't use the weapons until you tell me I can. But it's the defensive stuff that she won't use that completely flabbergasts me. I needed permission to use the grapple beam. I needed permission to turn on the Varia suit. Oh, wait, no. The Varia function in my suit, which is not how that works.
No, it isn't.
It's not a function that you turn on. It's like, that's the Varia suit or the gravity suit or...
It just is what it is.
Yeah, it's, that's not how any of this works. And then there's all the fact that it's, like I was saying before, the Team Ninja clearly wanted to make a game that was, like, it does all these really cool things, but the fact that you're not able to use an analog stick. Like, you're just straight up not allowed to use an analog stick in this game. And
which is just crazy. It's
completely nuts. It really hurts all sorts of things. You go into these, like, really slow moving things. You have to point at the screen for the weird first person search and destroy segments and whatnot. And, like, it really almost works. Like, it really, really almost works. And if they had been able to use, which I can't imagine that this wasn't the case, that when they were designing this game, they wanted to use a Wii Remote and a nunchuck. Because all the controls make so much sense. Like, switching in and out of first-person mode to do things like missiles, it would actually really work if you were always pointing at the screen. But that you have to keep changing your grip to go back and forth between, because you can only shoot missiles in first-person, and first-person only triggers when you point at the screen. So it's...
Yeah, like, that's ridiculous.
It's completely insane.
That's a ridiculous way to play a game.
There was a mandate going around after New Super Mario Brothers Wii sold like 45 bajillion copies that, if you're going to make a new game, it has to be playable with just the Wii Remote sideways. And I have no problem with making it so that every game should have the capability to be played like that. But to make it that it can only be played like that, that's where I drew the problem. I had the same thing with Donkey Kong Country Returns. Like, that game's great, but it would be way better if I could use a classic controller. I don't know why I can't. I'm just straight up not allowed to. So important functions were relegated to waggle because there aren't enough buttons on the Wii remote to properly play that game. And this is another situation where it being forced into just being a Wii remote only game hurts it so much. But god damn, is it cool! Like, you finish a story segment and then you go into like a boss battle. We fought this crazy lava monster today, and like, hey, you go through the top of the room first. Yeah. And like, this is there's such a good blueprint here for an actual 3D Metroid game. You go through the room first above it, and you go through this like morph ball track, and you drop bombs every time you get to these little barricades, and they drop down these floating grapple beam points. Okay. So then you get to the other end, and you go loop around the next room, and then you come in through the door that you just unlocked, and now all those grapple point things are there. But one of the grapple point things you drop, because it's like you're looking down on this giant room with lava everywhere, and like the third one, those grapple points you drop, this giant lava monster comes up from underneath you. Now, you're in no danger because you're in this little barricade thing, but it comes up from underneath you and eats one of the grapple points. Which is like, oh, I guess I'm going to be fighting that thing any minute now. And then you do, and you get started in it, and then when you see it, you're fighting it, when it opens its mouth, the grapple point's in there. So if you twist the Wii remote, because you have to be in first-person mode to do it, but you twist your Wii remote, and then you shoot your grapple beam into the thing's mouth, and you literally fish it out of the lava lake, slam it into the ground, and then you run around and start pumping missiles into its stomach. Like,
yeah, that sounds awesome.
And it plays good, too. Like, even with this ridiculousness that's going on there, it plays really well. And, like, you can see the kind of the birth point of what became the parry system in Samus Returns with the dodging system in this, and it works really, really well, but also kind of not at the same time. Like, it's this really great idea that I don't know how to perfect it, but like, there's also really good things in it. Like, if you stunned an enemy, you can actually jump on top of them and perform, like, you know, specific kill moves or something, like specific takedowns. Yeah. Or other stun things where you just run right into them and Samus will initiate a takedown. It looks like it's kind of similar to what they're doing in Dread with the jump at them, like not the counter move, like the preemptive counter move. I forget what they called it, like the action.
Fuck you.
The fuck you move. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but it is pounded down by just complete fucking nonsense. Yeah. Like, that betrays the series to that point. The story itself is just insane, and Samus is really weird. Like I was saying earlier, I got to that scene with Anthony, and like, he was in trouble, and Samus gets in the room and she lets out this terrible shrieky Anthony, like, she's so scared for him, instead of just doing what Samus would do, is just not stop, stare, and scream, but literally go right to work and save his ass. Yeah. But also, you never really do much of anything in this game. Like, I got to the, you know, you don't know it at this point, but the second form of Ridley, the little, whatever puffy chicken monster that mutates into the dragon that then mutates into Ridley, I got to the second form, and like, for some reason, it pins you down, and then you just can't get out of it. You're just like, and you can only shoot its tail. Like, its mouth is right in front of you. Like, before this room, there was a monster where I ran over to it, I jumped on its head, I shoved my arm cannon down its throat and blew it up from the inside. So this thing's like trying to bite my face, its mouth is open. Why is Samus not shoving her, just shooting missiles into its throat? Like, shove your arm cannon in its mouth and blow its brains out, because that's what she did to Ridley in Metroid Prime 3. You jumped right on top of him, just like after you finish that fight where you're falling down the chasm. Yeah. She lands on his face, pries his jaw open, and starts shooting missiles in his mouth. Because it's freaking awesome.
Well, you just said that reminded me of fucking, was it Batman Forever? Two-Face, teach me how to punch guy. Oh, it's simple, my boy. Ball up your fist, reach way back, and assert yourself. I don't know why it made me thought of that, but I tried. So
it's just bananas. And then, like, you don't get out of it. You keep shooting its tail until somebody rescues you.
Yeah. Samus is fucking Ripley.
She's
like, Ripley never panics.
Never a damsel in distress.
Never.
Ever.
Like, Ripley just goes in there and there's crazy shit happening and all the dudes are game over, man, game over. And Ripley's just like, fuck you. Like, I'm going to take this shit. And, like, it's why the Alien movies are so fucking great. Even, and forgive me if I'm misremembering, but even the David Fincher shitty one, which is like 3, I think, where her kid is there. Like, she's still badass. Like, she doesn't panic and freak out. Like, that's always the type of heroine that I have equated Samus to. Of, like, exactly what you're saying. Like, I'm not going to freak out. I'm
literally who she was modeled after.
Yeah, like, I'm coming in here. I'm going to handle shit. And then I'm going to, look at you sternly on the way out.
Mm-hmm. She gives a thumbs up to the general at the end of Prime 3, and that's like it. That's what she does. That's her emotional, like, God, she pontificates on every single thought that comes into her head in this game. Like, there was a flashback sequence to the scene that I just finished. Like, you follow this scientist lady around, and then you got into a boss fight. And, like, during the boss fight, you see that there's someone in a Galactic Federation uniform trying to kill you in this machine, and then you finish the boss fight, and then she flashes back to the conversation she just had before the boss fight, and then the shot in the boss fight where you saw the guy sitting in... Like, she just flashed back to that and talked over the whole thing, like, I remember when he attacked me, and I saw the Federation uniform. Like, I know, it was there!
It was just fucking there!
We just did that! What are you doing?
That is... annoying.
It's maddening because it's so almost great, but it is so not. It's so stupid. They found a space pirate.
But he's so cool.
Which is so cool.
So stupid.
So stupid. I keep saying that, and John's saying it now too.
It's fine. That ours is Invader Zim. Wait, but they're tall? But they're stupid. But they're tall. Wait, but they're stupid? Like, constantly happens in my house. My kids do it. They have never seen it. Because I'm a bad parent, apparently. Saying that out loud makes me realize I'm a bad parent. I'm very sorry. Just had an epiphany right here on the fucking show. But they're tall?
But they're stupid. They find a space pirate early in the game, and Samus is like, that's a Zebesian. The fuck it is! They're not from Zebes!
No.
They're space pirates. We went to the space pirate homeworld. Guess what that was in? Fucking Zebes.
Guess where we didn't.
What the hell? They invaded Zebes and set up a fucking base there. The Chozo lived on Zebes. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, that is frustrating.
But you know what? They're getting it right now. Like, they course corrected for Samus Returns because Sakamoto was in on that game too, and they didn't overdo any story stuff. There was just enough there to tell a story, and they added some stuff to it. But they got Samus's characterization spot the fuck on. Even fought Ridley with no problem at all.
Not scared even a little.
She didn't stand there and shit her pants. I can't wait to get to that fight because that fight is so goddamn good. But everything surrounded us. Fucking Anthony comes out. I'll never forget. He comes in. Hey, that's no way to treat a lady. Like, shut the fuck up. He told me he couldn't wait to finish the mission so he could see my beautiful face earlier, and I just wanted to punch him in his fucking face. And he's the one I like the most. They keep killing off all the other Federation guys. I'm like, oh shit, he's dead. Oh well. Time to move on. Which random white guy was that? Who the fuck cares?
Who even cares?
Was this JT or whatever his name was? No. So on more positive news, my sister-in-law got me it was a weird gift. She got me the Lego Bowser's Castle set.
Yeah, it's definitely for John.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I said, wow, you really bought John the greatest my 40th birthday present imaginable, because that was, of anything, single thing on the face of this planet, that is what he wants more than anything.
Yeah.
He has been drooling over that thing's existence. He wants that with every fiber of his being, and we were going to get it for him for Christmas, because it's a big fucking set.
It's a
like,
big fucking set.
It's like 100 and change, I think. Like,
yeah.
It's a beefy one, so... But she got it for me thinking like, oh, it would be great for that. You know, I just wanted to get you something for you and John to do together. I thought that would be a really good birthday present. I'm like, you're right. Like, I don't.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad thought, except like, I can't keep this. This is like, this is the thing in this world that John would kill for. All right. John would do anything for this. And all day long during my party, he's like, can I start building the Lego Bowser set? I'm like, dude, there's like 100 children nearby. No, no,
not even a little bit.
But we started building it yesterday, and it's definitely it's some of it's a little bit much for him, only a little bit. Like some of the little like there's little pieces that have to like fit in tiny places, but he can do it. The problem is that Ellie also wants to do it, and she's 4.
Oh, no.
And this is 8 and up Lego stuff. Like, she's got Lego kits for her age, but this is like, it has to be there. She wants to be in it, she wants to do things, and she's taking pieces from John and then getting frustrated, and like, she won't leave and do something else, and like, I just want to build this with John because this is a 2-person activity, okay? Like, I find the parts, and then he puts them together, and I'll fix anything he can't do right. That's the way it works. Adding a third person to the mix just doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a really cool set. We're like maybe halfway through it because we're building a bunch of it today too, and that was pretty neat. Now, also for my birthday, they had it catered by Cheeto Burrito.
We had left by that point. It made me very sad.
So here's the thing. I love Cheeto Burrito with all of my heart and soul.
You talk about it a lot.
I do. I just love that place.
Which is okay.
It is. They got enough food for 40 people. There were not 40 people at my birthday party.
There were not, no.
You know what that means?
You have a lot of Cheeto Burrito.
I have so much leftovers, and I am eating it for lunch and dinner every day. And I am thrilled.
I could not be happier.
I just could not be. I mean, there's more. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of it, but I'm going to fucking try. I had tacos for lunch and nachos for dinner, and then tomorrow I think I might cook some rice tomorrow and make a big fat fucking burrito, and then maybe I'll do some more tacos. I don't know. The chips probably aren't going to last because there's so many of them. I don't have a container large enough to keep them fresh. We took a couple of like paper shopping bags, dumped them in there. There's 2 full shopping bags of chips, and we clipped them shut, but even still they're starting to get a little stale. So we had the nachos for dinner tonight. They might not last, but all the hard shells and the soft shells and the chicken, I
feel that way about fucking halal, man, so I get it.
It's one of the best birthday presents. It was one of the best unintentional birthday presents because she figured we'd get this stuff and we'd feed the party and we might have some leftovers.
Yeah.
It is insane how much food is left, and I am so happy to just eat it every single fucking day until it's gone or inedible, whichever comes first.
Whichever comes first.
But on to the big one. There was a surprise birthday party for me, which was cool. There was a lot of people there, people that I hadn't seen in a long time. John Wentz showed up later. He was very sad that he missed you. He wanted to talk
I was very sad that I missed him too. I would have loved to have seen him.
But it was a fantastically fun situation. Now, beforehand, Karen told me that she had some Mom's Club meeting thing. And so I was like, well, I'll take the kids out of the house for you. Like, I'll just take them over to Mom's. We'll hang out there so you can have your meeting without us around. It'll be great.
Call me when you're done.
Exactly. So I went over to my mom's house, fully believing that there was just a meeting happening at our house.
Why wouldn't there be?
And I said, because she told me that there was some sort of thing happening that night. I was not available Saturday night. Like, I was off the books. It was something for my birthday that night. That's all I knew, is something was happening. I figured it was some sort of special dinner. That was my guess. It was going to be some kind of dinner because she had this other event planned during the day. So I was like, okay, I don't know what time, whatever festivities or whatever you have planned, will I have time to take a shower when I get home? And she said, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem at all. That was a lie.
It was a complete, utter lie.
So I went to my mom's house, and my mom's fence was falling down. Like, we had a storm pretty recently, and she had her fence built by Home Depot, which did a terrible fucking job. Yeah, and a bunch of her fence had blown down. And my dad hadn't fixed it yet. So I was like, I'm tired of looking at this. I'm going to fix your fence. And she was like, okay, cool. I was like, except Dad's drill is at my house, so I just have to run back and get it. She's like, nah, it's okay. You can come back and do it tomorrow or something. Like, no, I'm here. I got like a couple hours to kill. I'll just run over to the hardware store and get some screws, and then I'll run back to my house and get the drill. So after my mom started trying to talk me out of it, I was like, something's up. Because my mom would never talk me out of just going back to my house. I live 2 minutes away.
Right.
But whatever.
It's not far.
So I drove home, and there were no cars in front of my house. It's like, there was supposed to be a big mom's club meeting, and there's no cars here. And the drill's on the porch. There's got to be some reason that she's not letting me in the house. But okay, whatever. Cool. She's working on something for me. I'll piece that together. So That's fine. So I got the drill. I went to the hardware store. Back to my mom's, and I fixed her fence. But it was about 150 degrees outside with 3,000% humidity.
At the least, that's what it was.
I was drenched in sweat. I was disgusting. It was super hot and incredibly sweaty. And so I came home and surprise party and like, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm really, really sweaty. Like, this isn't going away, and I'm not going to jump in the shower at the beginning of my surprise party. So, it is what it is. I'm sweaty.
What's up, everybody? Hugs for everyone.
But, yeah.
Sweaty, sexy hugs for everybody.
Sweaty, sexy hugs for everybody. And everybody was vaccinated, and it was as safe as anything these days can be.
Could be, yeah.
And it was just wonderful. So I'm outside and doing all this stuff. And then, some people are there that haven't been to my house in a long time. And I wanted to show them the basement. And so the party started moving to the basement. And Karen's like, well, you can't go down there first because there's something special waiting for you down there. And I came downstairs and there's this giant fucking arcade cabinet sitting in my basement. And on the side, it's painted up like an NES. And it says Randazzo Entertainment System, which I just love. And it's got some great artwork on it. A little picture of me and my family done up as Mario characters. And then Dan filled it up with this PC that's got MAME running on it. And it's great. It's got two joysticks, so it's 2-player right off the bat. I'm working on figuring out the best way to expand it to 4, so we can all play Ninja Turtles and X-Men and Simpsons together.
Yeah, it's got to be wireless controllers. Because X Arcade doesn't make a 4-top.
Right. I noticed that. They don't make a 4-top, and I was trying to come up with... Well, there's other USB ports on the computer, right?
Yeah, so two wireless controllers. You just put the little fucking dongles in there, and you are good to go.
Or I could plug in wired USB controllers,
or
right?
wired USB controllers, sure. Yeah.
Now, I haven't fussed with that yet. I'm trying to think of like... Wouldn't it be cool if there was a way to add 2 simple ones to the sides, right? Because I don't need the full 8-button lineup. This is literally just for the 4-player games, like the beat-em-ups, like Rampage or something. I just need like maybe 4 buttons and a joystick tops. So wouldn't it be cool if there was some sort of little clip-on that I could add? Like, because
I don't know if you can. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know that you could. I don't know if it exists.
I'm wondering how hard it would be to build, because like the way the X Arcade is, there's a lip on the side, right? There's plenty of something there to clip something onto. So if I could clip and brace 2 smaller arcade sticks to the side, like simple builds, that would be really cool.
It was something that we looked into, because when we were first starting to design this, Tiff and I were like, well, all right, so what do we do? Do we get the X Arcade, or do we try to figure out how to get buttons and wires and wire up a key like a fucking controller and then program it? And we talked about it for a couple minutes and went, yeah, I'm not fucking doing all that. That's not the thing I want to learn how to do.
That
I'm going to buy the X Arcade and build it around that.
That's I think the best way to do it. It's got pretty much everything I need. The configuring the trackball for the certain games was a thing. Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten Arkanoid to work yet, but I'm stuck on the games where they're loading up sideways because they're for a vertical oriented screen. Yes. And I haven't been able to fix that yet.
That is something that we were trying to think about. See, and this was the thing about being at your party. Like, I really wanted it to just be like me and Tiff drop it off, but that really wasn't going to work. But like, I'm thinking there's got to be a way to like do a hotkey or whatever. Because you can't have hotkeys turned on, because technically the X Arcade, like for anybody who's thinking about buying one, the X Arcade is just it functions as a keyboard. The trackball is your mouse. The buttons on the left are like the buttons on your mouse. You can click it that way. So when we first started testing it, I was like, all right, let me make sure that this works. And Tiff and I started playing Final Fight. Because I was like, Kris loves Final Fight. We got to make sure that this one works. All right, cool. Final Fight works. We're playing. We're beating some people up. And because I still had sticky keys, were still turned on that computer. Hitting punch a bunch of times, flipped the screen upside down. And I was like, what? This doesn't work. Oh my, what the fuck is going? So like I had to go on Reddit and I'm like searching, like, why does this game keep flipping upside down? Not every game does it. Because other games that I tested, I wasn't hitting that button so many times right in a row.
Yeah.
So it didn't trigger it. So there's got to be a way to where, because there's the two black buttons on the back of the X Arcade. Yeah. One of those can maybe be programmed to rotate the screen.
Yeah, I would think it automatically. Could be, but I can't. I've figured out how to rotate the screen on the menu, but not in the game itself.
Okay.
So I'm still kind of piecing that together. But one thing I tried earlier today was, so I have my Raspberry Pi, which is loaded up with a wonderful, wonderful image that has animated menus, the whole works in pretty much every game I could possibly want. The problem is that every controller, with the exception of a wired Xbox 360 controller, no matter what I plugged into it, wired or wireless,
just never worked.
Works great on the menu, but as soon as you boot up a game, it stops functioning.
Right.
So it's like, I wonder if it's built around the X Arcade. So I plugged that sucker in, and same thing happened. But I did notice something else. While playing on the computer that you guys have set up, exactly the way it's set up, like, the screen clips a lot. Like, you play something, scrolls around a lot, and the screen clips. It's like, well, whatever, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. But then I plugged my my Pi in through HDMI, and it's gorgeous.
Okay.
It's gorgeous. So it's like, it's just the upgrade from the HD. It's not like there's an issue with the monitor, or the monitor has the capability to display that well. It's just it must just be how it's being exported from the PC itself, which you said was a super old PC, which, again, it works fine for what we have cooking right now. But I'm thinking what I want to do is try to actually fix my Pi issue. Because if I could get the Pi running in there with this arcade build and the X Arcade and whatnot, that's it, man. That's all I'll ever need. Because that was again ultimately our thought too, of like, we're going to give this to Kris, it's going to work, and he's going to want to tinker with it. Even if I give him something perfect, it's Kris. He's going to tinker. Well, I mean, it's
as well you
personal
should.
Arcade cabinet. Everyone's got their thoughts and dreams of what it should be. Like, wouldn't it be cool if the screen itself was mounted on something that I could just turn 90 degrees? But that's
right.
Then you would have to make the cabinet wide enough to support something like that. You have to be able to fit the whole circular motion of a screen. So I don't really know how something like that would properly work. But regardless, I played Punch-Out on this thing. I was playing Ninja Turtles with the kids, just playing Dig Dug.
We were playing Ninja Baseball Batman.
We did. We played Ninja Baseball Batman, and I would have stood there and played it for the whole damn game.
The whole damn time.
If there wasn't a giant 40th birthday party surrounded by people I hadn't seen in a long time.
A bunch of assholes, right? Fuck were they doing there?
I know I shouldn't just stand here and play this with Dan all day, but this is really what I'm into right now. And that game was stupid cool.
Wasn't it fun? It's so fun.
I mean, it was not. I mean, it was very much your game. Like that.
Oh yeah,
that game is 100% you. Like I'm not gonna boot that up with my kids and play it, but I'll play that with you anytime. It's a friggin' baseball beat 'em up.
I'll be there tomorrow.
It's Dan Ryan the game.
It really is. It really is.
But it's no man, this thing's great. I haven't turned off the LEDs yet either. Just keep them on all the time, just rotating different colors.
Yeah, man,
I'm looking at it right now.
We really wanted to make sure that we did something. Like Tiff and I were thinking, like, all right, how do we decorate this? Do we get a big, do we custom a big thing on the side, or like, fuck, what do we do? And Tiff was like, no, I'm gonna make it look like an NES. I'm gonna wrap it in vinyl. And like I came down and she was like wrapping it in vinyl and like fucking Hollywood Video, putting vinyls up on the window with a credit card.
All that is? Okay, I get it. Well, I tell you what I really want is like, cause you were saying that the marquee art up top wasn't finished.
Yeah.
I just want to put the Randazzo Entertainment System thing in gray with the I want to just do NES exactly what I want the top to match the sides, because I think the sides just amazing.
And like when we were putting that part together too, it was like we went back and forth so many times of like, what should this be up here? And it was like, you know what? Let's make it something he can change. Let's make it something that can easily be taken out and something else can be put in there, so that you put something else in and 2 years later you're like, I want to put a new fucking thing in there.
Yeah,
or whatever.
That's a very cool thought process.
Yeah.
You know what would be really cool, and I bet somebody makes this too, is some way to connect it to MAME, to have like a little screen up there that just displays the marquee art for whatever MAME game you're playing.
Dude, I am 100% sure
that's got to
is
exist.
In there. It has to. There's so many front ends and so many different things. And again, like you were saying, like building the personal arcade cabinet, the personal is the important part there.
Yeah.
Right? And the front end that I might like to run mine through is not going to be the front end that, maybe I like hyperspin and you like fucking dick spin. I don't fucking know. I don't really know any others other than hyperspin, but it's like, it's such a personal thing, right? And there's so many, it's just fucking fun. Like you said, playing Dig Dug and Punch Out and just like, I'm going to jump in and see if this game's on here. And fuck, it is. And not all of them work because arcade emulation is currently, it's always being updated. That's the other thing, too.
Yeah.
There's always new shit that comes out where it's like, this game works now. This game works now. It's fucking crazy, man. I'm so pleased that you like it. You deserve to have something like that. You deserve to have something, custom and made with love and all of that. And like, it was built by a little bit of blood. There was a couple injuries during the building process. But Tiff and I both have all our fingers and toes. There was copious amounts of Narragansett drank during the build, so if there's a couple wonky cuts, that was probably towards the end of the night.
I did notice
because
that
like
when
that's
we
the
were
other thing
it
too.
up,
We're sitting here building this, and I'm like, all right, I gotta cut this
next to me, and there's like, it fits perfectly right behind the X arcade.
Yeah, well, yeah.
like it's almost like it was built for that. And I was wondering, like, because I kept putting it back on the shelf, and then I kept looking at the machine, like, there's got to be somewhere to wait a minute, and it just sits vertically right there next to the little control for the LED lights. I'm like,
yeah,
why was he putting that on the shelf over there? Like, this is perfect.
Yeah, it was all designed and like built around, and like I don't have a table saw, like a big table saw to run these big pieces of wood. So it was like, all right, we have raised a certain amount of money. We've got these 2 pieces of MDF, and we can go buy more MDF, but if we do that, that means we have to skimp in other areas.
That means we don't have as much excess to put towards Cheeto Burrito.
Right. I can't fuck this up. So cool, I'm just going to try to not fuck this up now with my circular saw or my jigsaw or whatever.
Well, it looks the shit. It looks amazing. I just need to figure out exactly where I want it to live. And then figure out the more customizing with my Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. Have you tried plugging in the Raspberry Pi and hitting tab on the computer? Because that is how you change the fucking controller.
Yes, I have.
Okay. That's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it is really weird. No, several people have looked at it and been like, this doesn't make any sense. This should work. I don't know why it doesn't. Because, like, when you're moving the menu, it all works perfectly. So why does it turn off when you boot up a game?
That's so weird.
It's super
I don't know.
weird.
If you ever want to take it out of your basement, though, you have to take your railing off. Because I had to
Sean
take your
told me
railing
about
off.
that.
Sean and I. That was Sean, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't like, okay. I hadn't seen Sean
because I was walking
in a
up the
very
stairs,
long
and
time.
then Sean was like, "Fun fact: this railing wasn't here this morning."
No, we started walking it down the stairs, and I was like, "I'm gonna have to fucking take Chris's house apart, get this thing down here."
Wouldn't be the first time.
No.
But I don't. I mean, the basement's where this belongs. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, you've seen the basement. That is where this item belongs. It's just that. See, now I never imagined that I would have one. I never imagined in a million years that I would actually have my own arcade cabinet, at least not until, like, the kids were in college or something. Like,
right.
This was not part of the plan. So I built this whole place around not having an arcade cabinet. So now I'm looking around like, I just don't know what to do. The only thing I keep thinking of is that maybe getting a different set of shelves, like a smaller set of shelves to put next to. I have this big, for anybody who's not been in my basement, which is most of you.
Which is all of you listening for the most part.
I have one of those super giant IKEA cube shelf things that I inherited from Karen's old job. We've had it for years. It just keeps surviving with us because it's, I don't know, it's just a giant cube shelf thing. It's super useful. It no longer matches any of the other furniture around it. But that's fine because it's all filled with board games and stuff.
Right.
If I got rid of that and then put a different, smaller set of shelves, I could fit the arcade into that corner because it seems like that corner's right where that belongs. But
it does kind of feel that way, yeah.
I need to be able to open that closet, not just to get to like my video game systems, but also to like my water heater and shit. So,
which is relatively important.
Relatively important. So like. Yeah. It can't stay where it is because I can't really get into that closet. But if I get rid of that thing, there should be enough room to put the unit on an angle outward and still be able to open the door just fine.
Right.
Which would be, that seems like the optimal situation for me because I feel like I kind of want it on an angle. I don't want it just flat against the wall because I also have the whole pool table here, right? I can't put it next to the pool table because somebody's going to hit the screen with a pool stick. Like that's course. Just going to happen, and I want to avoid that. So I'll make it work because I've been playing it a lot. Like, I'll just sit there and think, because, like I said, I have the Raspberry Pi, but playing arcade games on an Xbox 360 controller is just not the same thing.
It just isn't.
Like, I've been able to play...
It doesn't feel right.
It doesn't. I've been able to play the arcade version of Fantasy Zone for, the however many years I've had my Pi, but, like, now I turn it on this thing and I'm like, this is awesome because this feels
how this
right.
Feels. Yeah.
It's not even like an arcade stick on my table in front of my TV. Like it's a cabinet. It's just the way it works, Played some Mortal Kombat 1. It felt great.
It did. I played that against Katie. I was like, all right, let me test some of these fighting games and see if this works. And like, it's like, I wonder if I can still do Sub-Zero's Fatality. I'm pretty sure it's forward, down, forward, high punch. So I beat her and then ripped her head off, and she was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Yes, I can still do that. Sweet."
I came down later in the day, and my Karen's mom and Karen and her mom were playing Ninja Turtles together.
That's awesome.
That was just amazing. The kids were all like, me and Paul, my best friend Paul, were trying to play this The Simpsons together for a few minutes.
Yeah,
and like the kids came down like a minute after we got there. And then they're like, what are you playing? What are you playing? Because like there were a whole buttload of kids there.
Oh yeah, there were so many. I hated it.
And they were like, what are you playing? And we're like, we're playing The Simpsons. And one of them said, what's a Simpson?
I said, get out.
I was like, all right, this is The Simpsons. Enjoy. And then I marched upstairs and I talked to Frank's dad and said, look, Frank, your kid just said, what's a Simpson? What are you going to do about this?
How are you going to fix this shit?
Yeah, seriously. What are you doing? what's your plan here? But it was fun. Everybody was messing around. I played with Sean. I can't remember the name of the game. I found the name of this game for him. He had been trying to figure out what this damn game was for the longest time, and I eventually was, based on some weird descriptions that he gave me, was able to find the name of this game. And they had it at the Tilton 9 movie theater, apparently, and he played the ever-loving crap out of it. And it was something like Medieval Warriors or something like that. It's this one-on-one fighting game.
Okay.
You can only choose between these two dudes with swords. And as soon as you beat one of them, then you get to like play against all these other dudes with different like attack patterns and stuff. And it's just kind of a ridiculous game, but I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
And I just can't remember the damn name of it, but it's on there.
Yeah. Like I said, that MAME file that I got for you is like, there's fucking handheld games on there and pinball machines, and it was a giant fucking file.
Yeah, it's
like,
got
all right.
it's got all manner of stuff on there. The thing with the Pi setup that I have is really also coming down to laziness, because like the Pi setup is super cool because it also has all the console games, which I don't really want to do on the arcade cabinet, but I can always just
but you could.
I could. That'd be fine. That doesn't come up very often because if I'm going to do that stuff, I'll usually just play it on the damn console.
Right.
But it also has all the arcade files preset to screen orientation.
Right.
So
there's
every arcade game that has a vertical screen orientation is automatically set to display properly on a, just without your tilting your TV screen. So it really all came down to laziness. If I could just get this to work, it would be like, there it is. Then I could just stop. Okay, I'm good. I'm set. I'll plug in extra controllers to play Ninja Turtles 4-player with the kids or whatever, but building the little add-ons on the side, that seems like such a good idea.
It does. I'll tell you what, man, like one of these weekends, I will fucking come and fuck everybody else. I will figure out how to make this shit work. I will make that goddamn thing work, because
I feel
now
like it's gotta
I am
be
invested in this project now. Like I am heavily invested in this project. So
they
needs
don't have to
work.
be much. It just has to be super duper simple. Like, because what is it? What 4-player arcade games am I really going to play? Right? It's going to be beat 'em ups.
Play X-Men,
Simpsons, Turtles 2, Rampage 3 players. Rampage World Tour I think goes up to 4. But really, like, it's not all the games that I would want to play 4-player on. They don't need all the buttons. It can be super stupid simple, because everything that needs a bunch of buttons is like fighting games, and that's 2. Like that's
right.
So we're good. I also saw in there when I was farting around trying to figure out the screen orientation, like you can set all these different things. Because what was it? One of the games I played, Marble Madness, and it was set to joystick controls. Like, well, this doesn't make sense. I got to be able to use the mouse, or sorry, the trackball. And so I went into the settings, and they were like, you can configure all these different things. So you can configure handlebars, you can configure a little dial, pedals, and racing wheels. I'm like, oh man. I don't know how to figure any of that stuff out, but I'm thinking, like, because one of the first things I did was I looked up Hang On, because I love the original arcade version of Hang On. It's one of the first arcade games I'd ever seen in my life was Hang On,
right? And
it was the stand-up one that just had the handlebars on the front of it, and I'm like, man, I got to play this, and it plays pretty decent on there. The way the joystick was mapped was like, because the handlebars worked like handlebars, right? So like you turn them a little bit and you turn a little, you turn them all the way, you turn all the way. So it worked where like you press the joystick to the right, and the longer you hold it, the further, like the harder the turn is. So it's not perfect, but it's, it's a reasonable enough facsimile. It's not like there's a lot to see in that game, and I'm not going to play a ton of racing games anyway. So it's fine. It's such a cool thing. I'm having such a ball with it. I love it. I love all of you so much, especially you. Just happy birthday to me.
Happy fucking birthday to you, man.
Arcade version of Fantasy Zone on an arcade cabinet.
On that note,
never experienced that before. It was really cool. But yes, on that note, we should take ourselves a break, right? Is that where you were going?
Though.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking Game Boy.
Well, yes, we're going to take ourselves a break. I thought you meant before the break. I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
The fuck did I miss?
No, that's everything.
Well, there was like some other news. Like, do you want to talk about Kazuya and Smash Brothers? I mean, sure, he looks awesome. The end.
Maybe. And they said, like, the next Smash Brothers character is the last.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe him.
Yeah.
I feel like he said that the last time, too. Like, when the Fighters Pass was over, like, oh, we only got one left. That's it. And then the finisher was like, yeah, sure, I'll do another pack. I mean, yeah, sure, it makes sense for it to be last. There's like 150 characters in Smash. But either way,
yeah,
Kazuya looks super cool. He looks really interesting. Like, again, I'm not a Tekken guy, but damn, he looked like a lot of fun to play. And that amiibo looks... Oh, love the Min Min amiibo. It's a shame it's going to be sold out in 4 seconds, but, you know, whatever. It looks outstanding, and I'm into it. It's fun. But anyway, let's take ourselves a break. When we come back, we're going to talk Game Boy. I got to say, this one came together for me way faster than I thought it would. This did not break my heart the way that other ones I expected it to. So
no, I had one heartbreak on here, but we'll get there.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely there was a handful of games that I would love to put on there, but they were just hilariously expensive. So.
Hilariously so.
All right, so yeah, we're going to take ourselves a break. We come back, it's Game Boy time. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, with E3 safely behind us and our own recaps out of the way, wouldn't you like to hear a completely different E3 wrap-up podcast episode? Of course you would. And do we have a podcast episode for you, the listener? Our friends over at the Weekend Rental Podcast have released their E3 wrap-up episode, and it's chock full of everything you could possibly want to know about their feelings on the state of Nebraska. I'm going to assume this is the Gilmore Girls,
yep,
and not the Golmore Girls, unless that's a different porn parody that I haven't seen. And maybe, I mean, I've seen a bunch, but not that one. And maybe even some newly announced video games. Don't miss Weekend Rental, episode 102, The Gamer's Prime for Dread.
Next, back in the old days when I worked at a video game store in Brooklyn called Game Crazy.
Crazy
about games. Buy, sell, trade.
Store sucked.
No, it didn't. Game Crazy was awesome.
I know, but it sucked.
Really didn't. Hollywood Videos sucked.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. That's more fair.
Except for Evans. His was glorious. As is he. Anyway, big companies used to like sending out these physical retailer kits to shops in an effort to drum up hype and help hawk their wares. One fateful day, I received a box that was shaped like an NES, and inside it was a collection of goodies that has brought joy to my life for well over a decade. What was inside? Does it talk? What is its mysterious connection to a spaghetti-flavored scratch and sniff sticker? There's only one way to find out, and that's to check out Stone Age Gaming Classic NES Mystery Box over at the Stone Age Gamer YouTube channel. Mystery Box.
I feel like if we can get most of our commercials to sound like Chris Rock and Bill Murray singing Little Drummer Boy in the Very Merry Christmas special, or no, fucking Do You Hear What I Hear? Do you ever seen that?
I have not.
Oh my god, it's the greatest Christmas special of all time. It's so great. Anyway, finally, Chris, I have to talk to you about something very important.
Finally.
I have to talk to you about the fucking the media format of the future. DVDs, Chris.
Digital versatile discs? My goodness, I love those.
Right? And see, up until literally just this minute, I thought it was digital video discs. Shows how much I fucking know.
You know, I think it may have originally been video discs or something, but it was eventually officially digital versatile discs because it doesn't just hold video.
No, it holds nachos or a muffin.
Pictures of nachos.
Pictures of nachos or
songs
pictures of
about
muffins.
Nachos.
I mean, fucking versatile. Anyway,
they could be coasters. You could put it on. It could actually hold nachos.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
It's got a hole in the middle.
Future,
you could put a hot dog
Kris.
in there. It could be. It could be a hot dog holster.
Chomp it on this DVD. I can't get to the hot dog. It's fucking weird.
It's reflective, so it looks like there's two.
It's hot dogception. Oh, just making that noise in the background. Why are the buildings bendy? I don't know. Eat the hot dog. Anyway, it's just everybody loves those shiny little fragile discs, and really, who can blame everybody?
Me, but I'm not gonna.
No, they're a fucking
nice.
future-proof delight. And one of the best things about them isn't the incredibly crisp and digitally clean video quality or the lack of a need to rewind once you're done using them. No, it's the special features. We all love the special features. We all insisted on buying DVDs that had special features that we never fucking watched, but we wouldn't buy the cheaper one because it didn't have the special features.
Right.
Anyway, we've all been there. The question I have for you this evening, Kris, is what Transformer fan's life would be complete without having delved deep into the most unorganized special features of all time?
I don't know.
Well, because you don't know, what I would like you to do is witness Sean go spastic at the unedited and poorly explained features. I want you to uncover the mystery of Dr. Rhino after many long years. And most importantly, Kris, I need you.
I need you too, Dan.
I mean, it's a whole other thing. Nay, require you. I beseech you to listen to Sparkcast episode 45, Transformers Season 1 DVD special features, Rhino. Just like it was written.
I tell you, I just found out that, Ron Perlman's going to voice Optimus Primal in the upcoming Beast Wars something or other. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, like I was like, all right, unzips. Like that was kind of the feeling I had there.
I love Ron Perlman and I love Beast Wars. Anyway, for all this great content and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on geekade.com. Alright, we're back. It is time for the Stone Age Starter Kit for the original Game Boy. Once a month, Dan and I are gathering together our thoughts and minds to come up with a list of games that if you were to start a physical collection of games for any given system, and you only had $100 to do stuff, what games would you get? So Dan and I both came up with our lists for the original Game Boy now. Now, it's just original Game Boy. We're not talking about Game Boy Color. That includes, like, the backwards compatible ones that were, like, the black cartridge that worked on both color and black and white. Just black and white Game Boy. What games? $100 limit. Let's get to work. This week, it seems that I have more games than Dan, so I will go first. And we're going to be running these alphabetically, so I will start. And I had to think about this one a lot, because I feel like there are definitely better games for the platform, but it was so inexpensive at $5, and I couldn't find any other better games for $5. So I decided to stick with this one. Obviously, these are all loose prices, because once you start adding boxes and manuals, especially the Game Boy games,
boy, does it get crazy.
Yeah, skyrocket. Because who kept boxes and manuals for Game Boy games? They're probably like the least kept boxes ever.
And they were so cheap.
Yeah.
They were very thin, flimsy cardboard.
And yeah, they're just not out there. So anyways, this was one of the launch titles for the Game Boy, and it's super simple, but I still love it, and I just think it's one of those quintessential Game Boy games, and we're talking Alleyway.
Good game. Not on my list, but a good game.
It's a pretty solid Breakout clone with a really nice personality and some very memorable jingles. I believe composed by Hip Tanaka. It is pretty simplistic, but it is very functional. It's one of those great handheld games that you just pick up and play a couple minutes of, or more than a couple of minutes of, because it is a very competent game of Breakout. And I feel like those kinds of experiences are really what the Game Boy was about. Like, there were definitely larger, more involved games on the platform, and I put a couple of them on my list, but by and large, we're talking original Game Boy, the black and white stuff. I find that the most soul of this platform, what really gets it, is, you know, like the game it was created for, effectively Tetris. You know, like those simple pick up and play arcade style experiences are just, they're so at home on the Game Boy. So yeah, Alleyway, $5. That's my starter.
Very, very excellent game. I imagine the first game on my list is one that made your list as well. I would be really surprised if it didn't. I did make my list. I finished editing today because I felt kind of bad doing it the way that I had done it before with so many, like, I did this 3 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, the prices just weren't accurate. So these are prices as of this afternoon. And the first game on my list clocks in at a big $14. Not the most expensive game on my list. The third most expensive game on my list, Balloon Kid.
Oh my goodness, that is on my list.
It has to be, right?
I didn't know you liked that game as much as I did. I didn't think anybody liked that game as much as I did.
I don't know if I like it as much as you do, because you like it to a level that is kind of crazy, but it is an awesome game, and it has an amazing soundtrack.
Oh, goodness, it does.
And it's one of those games that, again, like you said, it just really, really works for that platform of, I can kind of pick up and play, and I can jump into this and hear some cool music and do a cool couple of stages, and then boom, I'm out. It's great.
Yeah, it is a wonderful game. I'm sure I've talked about it. I'm sure I've had excuses to talk about it on the show before. Probably not as many, because, you know, it's a pretty weird little thing, but it's effectively a sequel to Balloon Fight for NES.
Right.
And they took the balloon trip mode and just turned it into basically a platformer. It's got a ton of personality. You play as this little girl named Alice who's trying to save her little brother who floated away on a bunch of balloons.
It just works really well.
It does. It's an auto-scrolling game, and it scrolls really slowly, which works really well for the original Game Boy's, you know, difficult to see screen. But it's the music it's 100% Hirokazu Tanaka, and it sounds wonderful. Just really that really nice bass sound. The first level of the game takes place in Pennsylvania, where all the buildings in the back are made of like pencils and erasers.
That's great.
It's great. No, yeah. It is a wonderful, wonderful game. It is available in the 3DS eShop, so it has actually been re-released. But I mean, it's one of those for my money, and even at $14, like dropping off stuff like Tetris Attack or whatever or even Dr. Mario in favor of something like this at $14. I just think it's worth every penny. It's a great, like you said, pick up and play. It's pretty challenging, but it's easy to pick up, difficult to master kind of a thing. Very replayable, wonderful, wonderful game. Solid.
Yeah, pick. And that's the other part of it too. The replayability of this game is nigh infinite, right?
Yeah, because you could also I think you can just do Balloon Trip in this too, which is also just great. So, yeah, good pick. Wonderful. All right. We both picked Balloon Kid. I didn't see that coming. I thought for sure that was just going to be on my list. All right.
I'm pretty sure there's a couple that are going to repeat here.
Yeah, I'm feeling like there's going to be some crossover.
I know the next on my list is 100% on your list. It might even be the next game.
It might even be. The next game on my list is the best game on this list. Maybe minus Tetris, because there's no chance Tetris isn't on your list as well.
Right.
But we'll get there. It's probably the best game released on the platform. It's an amazing, amazing game, and that would be Donkey Kong.
Yep. $16 is what I saw today.
$16. Yep, that's what I got too. Yep. Which is nuts, because I thought for sure that game was going to be stupid money. because it's
not. It is worth every fucking penny of that $16.
This is one of those games that if they remade this like they did Link's Awakening on the Switch, like just give it a full graphic makeover, but literally don't do anything else. Change no aspects of the gameplay, anything at all. Just put this game, all new graphics on the Switch, well worth $60.
Yeah.
No argument at all. I mean, everybody would be like, no, it's a $20 game. Best. Like, this for $30 originally. Like, no. The amount of content that you get out of this game, that is I would drop $60 in a second. I would drop my pants in a second as well. I have and will again. Now, this game's it's amazing. It's easily one of the best games on the platform. It holds up so well.
It's definitely the best game on the platform.
And it every time I go back to it, like I replay it a lot, like not to conclusion, but I don't have to because you can just kind of pick up anywhere. Like I have it on my 3DS, and if there's a few minutes before the kids going to bed that I'm just waiting for them to get ready for bed before I read them bedtime stories, chances are I'm going to pick up my 3DS and play a couple of levels of Donkey Kong. Like it just happens, and
it's super fun.
Super fun. Good. I couldn't believe this game was only $16 with the way the Game Boy market is right now.
Yeah.
Even with a handful of loose games being as expensive, like are just super expensive, that this game is only $16 is a steal. Like,
yeah.
Screw this whole concept aside. If you don't own this game, go buy it.
Yeah.
If you have a Game Boy to play it on or anything that plays Game Boy games, buy this game immediately, if not soon. If you have a 3DS, jump on the eShop, buy this game. It's so good. So good.
The next game on my list is the most expensive game on my list, and I would be shocked if it is not on your list. And that would be Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters at $20.
Wow. That's an excellent pick, and surprisingly, it is not on my list.
Wow. That is shocking.
It had to it didn't make the cut because of the price. I couldn't justify it at $20 with other things that I wanted to put on there.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, keeping this on here, put a couple of other things off, but it's just one of those games that I think most importantly, right, looking at these types of lists, right, of you're getting a collection of games for a platform and you're going to play them on that platform. We've talked about it a little bit. There are certain games that are better to play elsewhere, right? And there's certain Game Boy games that have been remade that didn't make my list because it's better to play it somewhere else. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This game, to my knowledge, is pretty hard to play anywhere else.
It is on the 3DS Virtual Console.
Right.
And that's it.
And that's it, right?
Which isn't to say that's hard. There's tons of 3DSs out there, and it's a couple of bucks. Like, it's a great way to play the game, save states and all. However,
but if you're getting games for the Game Boy and you want to play Game Boy specific, like, because that's also part of it too, right? Of like, we're fucking geeks about this shit. We want to play on the original hardware, like you were just talking about with the arcade cabinet. Mm-hmm. Space Harrier feels better when you have the joystick. It's an experience. This game's awesome. This game is awesome. It took kind of everything that was great about the original Kid Icarus and just kind of tweaked it a little bit. And I would argue is maybe a better game.
I would definitely say that this is a better game. It's very close because it does. The only thing this game is missing is some of the original's personality. That's really all that's missing from this one. It's not to say that this doesn't have personality, but there's a certain degree of goofiness that's not quite there with this one.
It's a little bit more. This is a little more serious. You can kind of see like where it was heading when they eventually got to Uprising, right? Which is certainly more serious.
Oh goodness, no.
Well, the first one.
That game's incredibly silly. Pitt yells,
No,
you
sure,
never learned
but-
to read. I mean, the
No,
whole thing's a joke. When I say more serious, I mean, like, in the original, I don't think more serious is the word. I think the word is less creative, like less goofy in a creative way. Like,
Okay.
where, like, the enemies you'll run into are like, well, these are just kind of like, you know, bats. Whereas in the original one, it's like, these are, you know, Groucho glasses. You know, like,
yeah.
They, you know, the eggplant wizard's still there. It still has that really goofy nature to it. You know, Pitt still says "I'm finished" when he dies, but like, and
Which
yeah, I
is
mean,
great.
Kid Icarus Uprising, like that game, the treasure chests get up with big sexy legs and start kicking you in the face. Like that
Well,
game's
that's fair. That's fair.
the sequel to the eggplant wizard was the fucking tempura wizard.
That's fair. That's fair.
Love that game. I love this franchise with all of my heart, and it really did hurt to not include it in the list. But it's like at $20, I would have to cut too many other things. And while this game is great, and I do think it does everything that the first game did on a structural level, but better, it's very similar to Metroid in that respect. Like Metroid 2 is so functionally better than the original Metroid because you can duck, you can shoot down while you're jumping in the air. You introduced stuff like the spider ball and the gravity jump.
Right.
Like, it did all these things, but it also was hampered so much by the platform it was on.
Sure.
And Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters is a very similar situation. If you're even vaguely interested in the Kid Icarus franchise, play this freaking game just as one of the ones to start with. It just barely didn't make it for me. And
I'm really
sucked.
surprised. Really, really surprised.
yeah,
It's great.
yeah. It
It's
is great. No,
It's got great
I
music. It looks great.
agreed. Very, very. I love the tunes in this game, and I really do love the look of it. Pitt's very, you know, a big and bold design. It gets rid of the whole like ratchet scrolling thing. Like,
Yeah.
you don't die when you fall off the bottom of the screen anymore. You just fall down, which is great because
Yeah, which is the way a game should be.
yeah, it's a bad time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right. What
Yeah.
else you got?
solid pick. Really, really would never fault anyone for putting that on there. I went my next choice. This was kind of a toss up, but I went with my gut on this one. I went with Kirby's Pinball Land for $10. The toss up was between this and Revenge of the Gator, but I think Kirby's Pinball Land was everything Revenge of the Gator did, but more refined and has that wonderful Kirby sensibility to it. Kirby's Pinball Land is great. It's well
It's
worth
great.
$10, and you
It's
know,
great. And for $10.
a pinball game that again is exactly what this system is great for, that kind of arcadey experience. And Kirby's Pinball Land does a lot of, you know, what the best video pinball games do, where it does things that a real pinball machine could never do. Like there's
Right.
all sorts of wacky interactive elements. There's a couple different tables that take place on multiple screens. There's boss battles. It's really clever. It's got great music. It is a wonderful, wonderful game. And weirdly enough, the only Kirby game that made my cut. Because the other ones are just too damn expensive.
They really are. They're good. I mean, if you like Kirby, which I don't. Which
But,
is
you
why
know,
the next game on my list is Revenge of the Gator at $10.
Exactly. They were the same exact price. And like, I feel like, cause you know, it's the same, Hal made both those games. And, you know,
and they both
made,
have that quirky charm to
they
them.
do. And they're both excellent pinball games. I just feel like Pinball Land was just a little bit more cohesive. But again, it was a 50-50 toss for me. I was like, oh man, I don't know which one to go with. I feel like Kirby's Pinball Land is the slightly more refined one, so I'm going with that one. But yeah, no, 100%, both of those wonderful picks. That's your next pick. I find that really interesting.
Yeah, I love Revenge of the Gator. It is a game that, until I started doing research for this a couple weeks ago, like I had honestly forgotten about. And then I started looking into it and I was like, oh my God, like I played the shit out of this game. I loved this game, right? Because again, that portable pick up and play pinball, I mean, that is just perfect for the Game Boy. And I, as is well documented on this show, am not a fan of Kirby. So when it came down to it, like, is Kirby's Pinball Land a better game? Probably. But it's Kirby, and I don't like Kirby. So Revenge of the Gator is what I got, was, what I came down to. Because, like you said, if you went to a store and you were like, I want to get Kirby's Pinball Land, and they were like, sorry, we have Revenge of the Gator, it's the same price. Like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, you're not walking out with a bad game, or vice versa.
Yeah, it's really, these two are such a toss-up because they're very similar. They're both pinball games by HAL. And they're both great. They both do unique things. Like, I really did consider putting both of these on the list.
Right. They're that good.
But you only need one pinball, so I stuck with the one that I played more of, which was Kirby's Pinball Land. But yeah, you're not losing out in either direction here. Phenomenal pick.
All right, what you got next?
Well, all right. So this next one may be a little bit of a cheat, maybe. But I'm going to declare that it is allowed, and I'll tell you why. Okay. Because the Game Boy is not region locked.
Right.
So for $10, you can get the PAL version of Mario's Picross.
Ooh, it's a bit of a cheat, but I'll allow it.
I mean, it's going to work on your Game Boy. And what was the US price in this? This was ridiculous.
I was
like, all right, I gotta get Mario's Picross on there. It's basically my favorite Game Boy game. I had it up earlier. Let's see, Mario's Picross. Yeah, so the Japanese one is $7.15, but there's a bit of a language barrier there, so I went with the PAL one for $9.59. Right. Or you get the US one for $33.
Yeah, like that's
what?
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Picross, but holy crap, $33 for a loose cart for Mario's Picross? That's insane to me. Where the PAL one is sitting there at $10, $9.59. So yeah, no, I vote the PAL version. Look, I love Picross, and this is a puzzle situation. This is what this system was built for, and I wanted to fit more puzzle games on here, but every other one that I went with was like, this is too much, and I want to hit more types of games, right? Mm-hmm. So with Tetris existing, which again we'll get, that's your active puzzle game with falling blocks, and it's very active. This is a passive puzzle game. Mario's Picross was the first Picross game released here in the United States, and it's a picture crossword. It's a puzzle based on solving numbers. You have plenty of time to sit and figure it out. It's a great passive puzzle game. I played it for years. It's got memorable music, controls exactly the way you want it to. It's got just a little bit of personality thanks to the Mario factor. It's just one of the most perfect Game Boy games there is. I couldn't possibly recommend enough.
Yeah, it never been my thing, but I again, that's one of those ones where I would have been like, I mean, this whole thing is called into question if you don't have that on your list.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, do I put Kirby's Pinball Land and Mario's Picross, or do I take those two out to put Kid Icarus on? And I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, no, it's valid. The next game on my list, the fifth game of the 9 that I have, is a game that I came to much later, through emulation and whatnot. But I'm very, very glad that I did, because the Game Boy, surprisingly, I think I was certainly surprised by it. Were you surprised? I was surprised. I was so surprised. Did a good job with shmups.
Surprisingly, there's some decent
really
shmups on there.
Good shmups on here, and most of them
alphabetically. What shmup are you coming up with? What letter are you on? What did you just do? S. Are you talking Solar Striker? Maybe
Solar Striker for $10.
Yeah, I thought about that one too.
It is an outstanding shmup. I fucking love shmups. I had to put them on here, but like Gradius and R-Type were just way, way too much money. And
how much is Nemesis on this thing?
Some of the better shmups. Solar Striker is not the best shmup on here, but it is $10 and it is outstanding.
Oh, Nemesis is only $12. That's the first Gradius for Game Boy.
Yeah, I like Solar Striker better.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I was looking more at R-Type.
Yeah.
And
was R-Type good on Game Boy? I can't remember if that one came out really well, because there were some good shmups on Game Boy. There were also some pretty cruddy ones too.
There were. I remember liking those a lot, but Solar Striker is a vertical shmup, and it's just really, really good. Right? It gets very close to as bullet hell as the original Game Boy could handle. And it's an outstanding game. And like I said, it's not one that I played when I was a kid. It's something that I came to much, much later in life and was like, man, this is just a really dope game. And I had to include it.
Now, this Solar Striker is a pretty interesting game because I believe this game was developed by HAL.
I believe
was this a HAL game?
Was it Yokoi?
It was published by Nintendo. Oh no, it was R&D1. Interesting. Yeah, so this was Nintendo R&D1. This was Gunpei Yokoi was involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a Nintendo published shmup, and this is like I believe a property that they own and never did anything with again.
Yeah, I'm looking. R-Type is $21.
Yeah,
it is not
too
a
much.
20. It is or 22 if you round up. It is not a $22 game. You know.
Yeah. Nemesis would be another good
Nemesis is
choice.
Good.
Yeah, that's another solid choice. But no, I think you're right. I think I would have went with Solar Striker too.
It's just a little bit better. Right, just a little bit. Not by much.
I mean, it kind of depends on what you're after. You know, Nemesis was that was a side-scrolling one.
Right. This
like
one's
Gradius.
I like vertical shooters a little bit more than I like side-scrolling shooters. Always have. You know what I mean? At 1942, 43, Legendary Wings, fucking Ikaruga, like all that. Vertical scrollers or vertical shooters is always going to be what I gravitate towards. There are some really, really great side-scrolling shooters, but if I had my druthers, it's going to be a vertical shooter. So,
fair enough.
Yeah,
good choice.
Solar Striker it is.
Well, here's one that I'm genuinely surprised didn't make your list. This is tied with Donkey Kong for the most expensive one on my list.
Oh,
and this is also probably one of the more, let's say, chunky adventures. Like, you know, kind of like Donkey Kong has a lot of, you know, content in it, and that would be Mega Man and Dr. Wily's Revenge.
It was the last thing I cut.
Oh, yeah. See, this was really what helped me cut Kid Icarus. While I do think that Kid Icarus is ultimately a better game, this was 16 and Kid Icarus was 20. And this allowed me to get away with one other super cheap game later. So I was like, yeah, this is where I'm going to land. Because, like, all right, you're not doing Castlevania Adventure because that game blows, and you're not going to do Castlevania 2 because that game's like, I think, $60 loose.
Yeah, it's very expensive. And that's really the only one worth playing. Yeah, Belmont, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Belmont's Revenge, $75.39.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. And Castlevania Legends, which is better than Adventure but not as good as Castlevania 2, is like 3 times that for a loose card. Like
$165.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
Do not spend $165 on a loose card of that game.
No.
Certainly do not spend $502 on a complete box one.
Yeah, that's
a
nuts.
Waste of money.
So that's Castlevania effectively out. So what are your other like excellent action franchises? You know, the Contra games are kind of priced out. You know, not that the Alien Wars is pretty decent, but if you want Contra on Game Boy, you go with Operation C. But
right,
that one also kind of priced out a little bit. So
yeah.
On a lark, I was like, well, what about the Mega Man games? I know those are stupid expensive, but maybe the first one's not. And the first one is not, you know, a masterpiece, but it's a really interesting portable Mega Man game.
Yeah.
And the handheld Mega Man games are so very worth playing because
they really are
really weird combinations of 2 different Mega Man games. You know, you've got this one takes 4 Robot Masters from 1 and 4 Robot Masters from 2 in original levels with original music. It's a really cool game. It's a really interesting historical piece. Like, this is a good version of what the Game Boy was capable of when taking what the NES was doing successfully and putting it on the Game Boy screen. Like, it was well thought out. It's not perfect, but it's cool. It's interesting. It's good. And I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it as well. Like, I'm never going to fault you for putting Mega Man on a list. You know, it was the last game I cut. And it came down to, I had the rest of my list here, and I was like, I mean, my two $16 games are Donkey Kong and Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge. And it has to be Donkey Kong in that situation.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
It just has to be.
Between those two. Yeah.
It's the best game on the system. So it just barely. Yeah, my final list was $98. I had $2 to play with, but I was like, maybe I'll put Frank Thomas's Big Hurt Baseball on here. And I went, no, I'm not going to do that. That game's fucking terrible.
Save your dollar.
All right, so the sixth game on my list, I don't know which of these is on your list. Is there something beeping on your computer?
I'm hearing it through my headphones. I don't know what it's coming from.
I have literally nothing else open. I don't even have any other tabs open currently. That's fucking weird. All right. Super strange. Anyway, I'm not sure. I would imagine one of the games from the series made your list. The one that I went with is the one that I am the most fond of, and that would be the $11 Super Mario Land.
Boom. Yes,
I really, really love the first Super Mario Land.
Now, where did you find it at 11?
Today, that's what I looked. I saw Super Mario
at 11 too. I'm looking at it right now. It's at $13.94.
Oh, well, fuck that. It was 11 when I did it this afternoon. It was 11
this afternoon, because I also have it written down at 11, but I'm looking at wait, is this $13.94 now? This went up today? Today. How dare you?
Yeah, I had Super Mario Land at 11.
That's it.
Super Mario Land 2 at 14, and Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land at 19. And I had to make numbers work, and honestly, I would have went with this one anyway, because it's the one that I'm most nostalgic for.
No, I agree with you.
I love the music the most in this one.
Yeah.
The fucking final boss fight that turns into a side-scrolling shooter is just ridiculous. It doesn't look as good as the later ones, obviously, but man, just a fucking badass game. Really, really like Super Mario Land.
Me too. That was definitely the one that went on my list. Also at 11. Yes. Most people consider the sequel to be the better game, and I guess on paper it is, but the first Super Mario Land has such a personality to it. It has such a unique flavor, and again,
it's
the music
just so different.
The music is out of this world. The physics are all weird and fucked up. It's not very long, but it's so memorable, and it's so quintessential Game Boy. It
really is.
You've got to play the first Super Mario Land, and for that platform, your Super Mario Land 2 is doing things that Super Mario World was doing, and it's very memorable and very cool in its own right. But
you got to have Super Mario Land. You can play
Super Mario World. You can go to a Super Nintendo or whatever and play Mario World. Super Mario Land is this singular thing. Nothing else is quite like it. You just got to do that one.
Just a wonderful, wonderful game.
Absolutely nailed my vote on that.
All right.
So my turn?
What you got?
All right, this one was another surprisingly cheap game. I really wanted to get something racing related on here, so
I believe this would be the next one I have as well.
Super RC Pro-Am?
You're damn right. For $3?
For $3,
get the fuck
out of
here.
No to that.
You can't.
I mean, it's not amazing. It's fucking RC Pro-Am on the go.
Yeah.
And it's good.
It's great.
Yeah. It's perfectly functional RC Pro-Am on the go. It is. It's great. It's got cool music, and it's RC Pro-Am. That game needs no introduction. It's a really cool isometric racing game. And I thought about other stuff like F1 Race, which is also pretty decent, but
sure,
yeah, man,
and pretty cheap.
Super RC Pro-Am for $3?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, you have to. It's one of those games that is also so quintessentially of that era, right? RC Pro-Am. And maybe you and I are misremembering this because of our love for that franchise, but it just feels like it was so identifiable with that era of gaming that
it definitely was. Everybody had that game.
Everybody had it,
either
right?
had it or knew somebody who had it. Like, that's one of those games that you ever put that on somewhere where somebody has ever played an NES. Like, I remember that game. Everybody knows this game. That's because it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it just is. And to get a portable version for $3,
hell yeah.
done and dusted. That's
Yeah.
not even a question.
Yeah, no
right.
question at all.
Well, that takes me down to game number 8, which I'm guessing is on your list as well. I think my last two probably are on your list. Game number 8, $5, tennis.
Yep, that's my next one.
Have to have it.
Yeah, no,
It's great.
I love
Game Boy
tennis on Game Boy.
Is so good,
especially against another human. You can get a decent chunk of fun out of it playing against the computer on the lower levels before they become just impossibly cheap. But man, you got somebody else to play tennis with on Game Boy.
Fun.
It's just endless fun. It's still so fun. It's got these super cute chibi characters, incredibly catchy music that I love so much. Oh, tennis for Game Boy, $5.
Tennis for Game Boy is as good for a completely other set of reasons. It's as good as Virtua Striker 2.
You mean Virtua Tennis 2?
Virtua Tennis, that's what I meant. Sorry, I'm drunk. Virtua Tennis 2. I don't know why I fucking said Virtua Striker. It is as good as Virtua Tennis 2. Completely different set of reasons. It is as good as that game. Like, yeah, because it just 10, 15 years later. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that game is like the fucking tennis game.
Yeah.
But tennis on Game Boy is it's just fun. It's just fun. It's not the best game ever made. It's not the most graphically amazing game ever made. Like you said, there's cute, chibi little characters, whatever. It's just fun. I love it.
Me too. Mario's up there being the umpire. It's great.
It rules.
It's so good.
Tennis rules.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I mean that just leaves Tetris.
That's it, right? At $9.
And you can't. No. It's not even a conversation. Like, there's no way to make this list without including Tetris. It's basically that those two things go hand in hand. Yeah, you have to have Tetris on the Game Boy. What am I even going to go through and like talk why? Like, it's freaking Tetris on Game Boy. That's why.
It's possibly the greatest game ever made.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, like there is an argument for Tetris, the simple block puzzle game, to be the great. When we think about the concept of a game, Tetris is possibly the greatest game ever made. I don't know that it's the greatest video game ever made. You know, like if you get more specific than the word game, but it is in that conversation.
I've said that many a times. I wholly agree with that. I think Tetris is the best game ever made, no question. I don't think the Game Boy version is the best version of it ever made, but it's possibly the most memorable, and it's like I said, it's what the system was created to play. And not literally, they didn't make this thing to play Tetris, but they may as well have.
They may as well have. I mean, it is still the original Game Boy Tetris has not left my Game Boy Advance SP in 20 years? 15 years? When did the Game Boy Advance SP come out?
I don't know. A while ago.
We're old.
Yeah.
A while ago, right? I have the NES Game Boy Advance SP. And, after I was done with that system and it moved on to the DS and the 3DS and whatever, Game Boy or Tetris went in and it does not come out. And it never will.
Because it's your Tetris machine now.
It's my Tetris machine.
When that night after my birthday party, my sister-in-law stayed over, and her niece booted up the arcade version of Tetris on that machine and played it for like an hour.
It is the game that I've played more than any other. It is the game that I will play at the end of my life when I look back, hopefully many, 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 many moons from now. When I look back over my history of gaming, Tetris will be the game that I've played more than any other. It is as enjoyable today, as infinitely replayable today as it ever has been. It is perfect. and it's $9.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta have it.
Just probably for the sheer quantity of them that are out there, like there's no way there's not no way this game will become expensive. It's a video game that says Nintendo on it. It'll become expensive someday, but
at some point.
As of right now, Tetris at $9, that's where it's at. That's
where it's at. Have to do it.
There's the list. So let's run down what did you cut?
All right, so I cut Batman, the video game, at 20.
I had a feeling.
Man, did I want to put that on there, but it's not a $20 game.
It's hard to justify that at $20, yeah.
It is. At like 15, we were having a conversation. At 20, just not. DuckTales at 16. I like that version of DuckTales. Not as good as the NES one, but it's portable DuckTales.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Legend at 22, just couldn't get it on there. That would have been the most expensive. And it's not that good. It's not $22 good. It's $10 good.
It's good. I'm so glad it's part of the collection, the collection of mana. But yeah, it's definitely not amazing.
It's $10 good. Kirby's Pinball Land was $10. Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge 16. Mario Land 2 and 3 14 and 19. A game I had a lot of fun with and really waffled. Trying to get it on there because I could have taken Revenge of the Gator or Solar Striker off and fit, or Tetris, but that wasn't going to happen. And I could have fit Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan on there because that's only $11. And I enjoyed that game. And I didn't really have, apart from Kid Icarus, I didn't really have that like action type game on my list, but it is what it is. And then obviously the biggest cut was Zelda Link's Awakening at 25.
Yeah. No, that was a big cut. That's
hard to cut.
I had a feeling that was going to be the case. There was no way that was going to make it on the list, but
that game is it's Donkey Kong and then in my opinion Tetris, as 1 and 1A. But number 2 is Link's Awakening.
I agree.
As far as best games on the system.
Yeah.
That also would have taken up a fourth of the budget.
Yeah, and I just couldn't get there.
Man, because you put that on there and it's like, all right, I got to take 2 games off of my list. I got to take Tennis and Kid Icarus off.
Yeah, that's...
Could you make that argument? Sure. But I'd rather not. Because you can play Link's Awakening elsewhere.
Link's Awakening is that thing that you get in your second round of games. These are your starter kits. These are the ones you start with, not the only ones you can have for all time. And these are the ones that will acquaint you with what the system can do.
Yep.
And
so that's what I cut.
That.
So I cut not as hard as I thought.
Yeah, no, I didn't really have too many real heartbreakers. I cut Dr. Mario at 7 because I really wanted to have more puzzle games because puzzle games, the Game Boy did those great. But Dr. Mario is a color matching game on a black and white system. It's, no. Operation C.
No. I thought about that.
It's $28.
Didn't make the original. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Honestly, the one that hurt me the most, I think was Kix. QIX, Kix, whatever you say with it. That was only $8. But, it was like... The only things I could have done was I could yank Alleyway and Super RC Pro-Am, but no, not for Kix. I love that game, but if it was just swapping Alleyway for Kix, then I probably would have done it. But having to combine it with this Super RC Pro-Am, then I have no racing game, and Revenge of the Gator, Wario Land, Tetris Attack, and Tetris Blast were also
really good.
$8, well worth the price. Holy crap, were those worth the price? But you have to have the original Tetris on there. Neither of those would I put above having the original Tetris. But even Tetris Attack, which is about effectively about matching colors on other platforms, they did such a good job of making those pieces distinct enough that it is very playable on the Game Boy. But there are way better ways to play, Tetris Attack or Paddle de Pon, whatever you want to call it, out there. It is what it is. And Tetris Blast is a super cool take on Tetris, which I don't think gets nearly the attention it deserves. I think it was also Tetris 3 in Japan, or Tetris Bomb Bliss, whatever you want to call it.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Very solid game. Love that one. And then, of course, Kid Icarus was $20, Link's Awakening at $25, and they just priced out. It was unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I was really surprised looking at the list today. I've got it pulled up right now. Some of these games on here, like Avenging Spirit is a game that I think is really cool. And again, like Solar Striker is something that I discovered way later in life. But it's $180. Like, Jesus Christ. There are some games on this platform. Fucking Mega Man 5 is $263.
Jesus.
For a loose cart.
That's gone up a lot since I got it.
Like, it's good. But man, is that great. Kid Dracula's $182. I mean, even Mega Man 4 is $117.
Blaster Master Boy is pretty expensive, and that
Blaster
game's not
Master
even that
Boy
good. It's not even
I'm
that
looking
good.
at it, it's $67.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden Shadow is $67. Mm-hmm. Like,
again, that game's not all that good. It's not even really a Ninja Gaiden game.
It's not. I was really surprised. I was like, I really liked the Bionic Commando that was on Game Boy. I had that. That was good. A cool game. Looked up the price today, $51. You go get fucked. $51. That is crazy for that game.
Yeah, absolute madness.
I was really surprised at some of the prices on this. But then, again, Tetris only being $9, it was like, man, that's the one. You could stop there, honestly. Like, with your starter kit, you get a Game Boy and you get Tetris, and you just go do that. But, yeah. It's, this was an interesting list. I'm interested. So the next one we have on our list, Chris, when we originally discussed it, was the Atari Lynx as the next system. And man, do I have to play a lot of Atari Lynx games over the next 3 weeks to make this list, because it is not a system I am familiar with.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with it either, which is what's going to make it either a really funny or really terrible episode.
Yeah,
but, we really wanted to get that 2-year mark, so
yeah,
Lynx it is.
I mean, it might come down to, I don't know, I'm going to play it and see how good Double Dragon is on the Lynx. I'm looking at it right now, and price charting says it's a $99 game. So that might be my list. I might have spoiled it right there. Fucking
just buy Double Dragon. Fuck the rest of that library.
Double Dragon. Don't buy Rygar. Don't buy Ninja Gaiden 3 or Dino Olympics or whatever the fuck that is.
Don't buy Ninja Gaiden 3.
I've got a lot of research to do for this Atari Lynx list, but that's what we've got coming up next.
Sweet. That is indeed, Atari Lynx. We were doing them, and I don't even know how to explain this. We were doing them kind of like in generation order. Somebody was asking, like, "Oh, wait, when are you doing TurboGrafx 16?" I'm like, "Well, we're putting that. TurboGrafx 16 is going to be kind of around like when we do the Genesis and Super Nintendo and stuff. We're kind of chunking them by generation. So
yeah,
Game Boy, Lynx, Game Gear, then Genesis, Super Nintendo, TurboGrafx, etc. Like kind of like that." I did just kind of want to poke in and say, as you were talking, Chronodin was messaging us on Discord that he was inspired by my Metroid-a-thon, and he's a fair amount through Metroid Fusion. And
nice.
He says it's excellent, and he's moving on to Zero Mission next, which he's also never spent much time with.
Very nice.
That's wonderful. He has done the first 3 Metroids plus Prime 1 and 3. Never got all the way through 2. And he's barely touched Samus Returns because he got it right before getting my Switch, and the 3DS got no attention at that point.
Man, that game needs to be on Switch.
It does, because more people need to play it. It's really good. It's really good. It's not perfect, but damn is it good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there we go. Dunzo. Done. Finished.
That's it.
There's
Fuck
Game
off,
Boy.
all of you. Get off my lawn.
The end. Games. Play them. Keep on. Yeah. That's it. That's our show. Wow, my brain just turned to mush. As soon as it became 11 o'clock, my brain was like, go to bed, asshole.
What's wrong with you?
Like, I'm still podcasting. I need to talk words.
Brain English good.
hang in there for another minute. That's our show. Join us next week when the 2021 Summer Series kicks off in force. Dan, tell us more about it.
Well, we will be playing a game that Kris and I are going to decide on within the next day or two. To start us off, Summer Series is something we've been doing for what? 38, 52 years now?
Something like that. The new 52?
The new 52, where Kris and I go back and play games we had either heard of when we were kids and never got a chance to play, or games that we should have beat but just never got around to. And it's kind of morphed and gone through it's a very fluid kind of thing. But we will be jumping back and playing some classic games for this first week where we're going to decide and pick. And then after that, for the rest of the summer, we'll open it up to you guys, the listeners, to vote on what fresh hell you want to make us suffer through, or what game you want us to actually enjoy. Because, maybe we have to fucking play whatever that Pac-Man shit was again.
Oh my god, that was so bad.
I don't want to do that again.
I don't either.
I don't, and we did that to ourselves, Kris. We gave them the opportunity to vote.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was going to be that bad. I thought it was going to at least be interesting.
Yeah, it was that bad. It was so bad.
That was awful.
So we'll kind of see how it goes this year, but honestly, I have been for the last 2 weeks building Kris's cabinet. I have not even thought of what the hell we are going to do for this. So we'll talk about it in the next day or two. We'll have a game for you to play. And by the time you guys listen to this, we will have posted it on the Discord so you can play it along with us and give us your thoughts on the game as well.
Word. Well, all right. That's it. We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, the Geekade Patreon, which helps keep this show running week after week, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor Evan for making this show listenable for all you folks, and we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.